this slippery slope to fascism. Watch this video and we'll analyze what is happening.
What's your intention here tonight?
My intention is to wave this flag and keep Palestine in the public consciousness right now.
So do you support any prescribed group?
I do not support any prescribed group.
Okay.
I support a free Palestine and the end of genocide.
The way that you're behaving at the moment would lead me to believe that you may be. Give me suspicion of grounds to believe you could be.
What suspicion? That I've got a sign that says Free Gaza, I'm holding a Palestinian flag, and I have a sign that says Israel is committing genocide.
My colleagues explained that the support of this, mentioning freedom of Gaza, Israel genocide, all of that,
Yeah.
all come under prescribed groups, which are terror groups that have been dictated by the government, all right, which we have suspicion to suggest that you're supporting, based on your actions here in a city with the flags and the posters that you've got
Right.
up, right? If you don't provide us with your name and address, those are necessities for us to arrest you for offences against the terrorism acts for being part of a prescribed group. Express an opinion or belief that is supportive of a prescribed organisation. Now that you have done.
But that's ridiculous. You could end up arresting half the country
I
for
didn't make
that.
the legislation. If you're found down the high street later on, you'll probably find yourself arrestable for that offence. Because you've been warned not to.
So I
and
can
you
never
will
do
be-
this again in Canterbury, in Kent.
It's an offence.
But now I
rather than
can
arresting
never
you.
hold this in public ever again.
Holding a flag, if you had just a flag, we'd probably say, be careful what you do.
Free Gaza?
Free Gaza, which is supportive
What
of
about that?
Palestine, and a sign of Israel committing genocide would be in line with
What you're doing is giving us suspicion. We only need 2 out of 10 to give us suspicion that you support a Palestinian.
Amazing.
As you can see from this video, these empty-headed heavies of the government are using the pretext of a government crackdown on Palestine Action, which is now considered a proscribed group, a terrorist, illegal group, because of course Palestine Action are inconvenient to the friends of the government. Labour, of course, being completely compromised by lobby groups like Labour Friends of Israel. It's no longer for Labour anymore, no longer for the working class of Britain, no longer for the very people of Britain. It is for powerful interests, which include the lobbying groups of Israel and other billionaire-based organizations. But these policemen are really doing the dirty work of the government, which is intimidating anyone calling for human rights. The Free Gaza, basically freedom for Palestinians. And calling Israel a genocidal state is not controversial in the least. Organizations like Oxfam, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, B'Tselem, which is an Israeli human rights organization, countless other organizations like MSF have called Israel and what it's doing a genocidal state. And you throw into the mix a unanimous agreement amongst Holocaust and genocidal scholars that a genocide is taking place. Melanie O'Brien, the president of the International Association of Genocide Studies, says that what is happening is that Israel is committing a genocide. Raz Siegel, Israeli-American scholar of genocide studies, is saying that Israel is committing a genocide. Shmuel Liederman, another scholar of the American Open University, is saying that Israel is committing a genocide. Now, the memo hasn't reached our government, and least of all, it's reached these policemen. They're merely doing the dirty work of the government. But this is merely, even though it does not stand its ground in the courts, it is an intimidation tactic. It is used to punch down on anyone calling for human rights, and is guilt by association. This is how fascism works. It is guilt by any kind of network, because of course, no human rights, movement kind of arises in an isolated incident. It's kind of a conglomeration. It's a grassroots kind of movement, and as grass comes in kind of a huge patch in a field of rooted organizations, Palestine Action did not arise out of nowhere. It's got the backing of hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people in the UK. And so what they want to do is kind of catch anyone calling for, or like in a kind of in a vocal way, calling for the human rights, to be acknowledged, to take seriously the human rights of Palestinians, and to call what Israel is doing a genocide. But they need to play this game of guilt by association and need to play intimidation tactics in order to ensure that their evil ally, led by arguably the most evil man right now, and one of the most evil in history, second to Hitler or King Leopold II, they want us to really massage the feelings of Israel, this political force, this ethno-state. And there's nothing moral about an ethno-state. We will find this out. We'll find out that this is the wrong side of history, supporting a genocide, the complete obliteration of people. We are seeing literal children being shelled as they're waiting for nutrition. Children shelled as they're waiting for water. And why are they waiting for nutrition? Why are they waiting for supplements? Why are they waiting for water? Because, of course, there's a siege. There's a blockade on food, water, electricity. And as they're trying to create the world's largest concentration camp, of course, Gaza was already a concentration camp, but more concentrated concentration camp, and they're trying to create a humanitarian camp. What's happening is that as people are waiting for food and rations, Israelis are just shooting at them willy-nilly. 838 Palestinians have been killed over the last couple of weeks just by mere virtue of just waiting for food. These people are not a military threat. They're just being killed arbitrarily. And this is part and parcel of a genocidal force that only sees Palestinians as an inconvenience. Their very existence is resistance because, of course, as the adage goes, equality feels like oppression to the privileged. So when Palestinians ask for equality, that is an affront to the ethnocentrists of Israel. It's come to a point where genocidal mania has run rampant. If it hasn't, it already was present within open society of Israel, but now it's run rampant. They've got an excuse now to express the most vicious, most disgusting, degraded, morally degraded fantasies. And for them, it's not immoral because in their worldview, in their bubble, Palestinians are not considered equal human beings. And they can use the kind of literal translation, literal interpretation of the Hebrew Bible to justify this. But there is no justification from a human level because they may interpret the Hebrew Bible for their own means, but they won't necessarily interpret for their own lives. They won't necessarily, they're selectively interpreting for a self-serving reason. This is how religion has been used throughout history by kings and queens, by emperors, to justify their God-given right to rule over people. And it's not surprise to me that, these Abrahamic religions, and I'm talking about, the more literal interpretation, that is, it's often the most narcissistic, egotistical the way that the prophets, realize their dreams or realize their kind of like commandments. It's by putting themselves as the main character and seeing themselves as the God's chosen person. It's very much an ego trip, really, for anyone. I mean, let's be very real. If anyone had an experience with God, obviously one would realize the power of God and do accordingly. But for me, it's very clear that the power isn't in the belief in God, because of course it would be quite evident. You wouldn't need to believe in God if God spoke to you, but rather using God as a kind of a tool to manufacture consent in order to justify whatever evil plans that you have. And I'm not just talking about prophets. I'm talking about people who used the literal interpretation of scripture to justify the most gnarly and morally reprehensible things, from genocide to slavery to pedophilia. Anyways, and it's not a surprise to me that the most immoral people use religion also as a way to gain salvation and to redeem themselves. Because of course, what more higher power than there is than the law itself, than God. And if God would be so graceful to forgive you, then you are above the law. Anyways, there's more to be said here. In the end, the UK is slipping into fascism, and we need to speak up. We need to question this. And whilst right now these policemen don't have a leg to stand on in the courtroom, perhaps the UK government is trying to amend the freedom of speech laws, especially with regards to their partner, their very best friend in the form of a genocidal state, Israel. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. Thank you.